It Is program with Dr. B. Baker, BJ Baker, whatever one you want, Baker. And I still have the honor and the privilege of being with Prophet Randy and Apostle Marshall McGee. And we're talking about suicide, and we're talking about different things that can help people to help others not to commit suicide, and different issues and things that people are having. So I want to welcome you, welcome all of the audience, and I welcome my guests, my friends, and my guests. Yes. So, Marshall.
Yes.
Last week we talked about a number of the different things that people go through when relatives do commit suicide. But as we've been thinking about this, what are some of the things that we can do to a couple of questions came up. Identify suicidal ideations and, some of those things. And then what are some of the things that we can practically do? Because we know that ultimately everything that a person does is their choice. We cannot stop anybody from doing anything. But yes, what we can do is that we can be we can be a deterrent, or we can be a voice to holler out. We can need help or whatever. So at any rate, why don't you go ahead and talk about some of this, and then give it over to Prophet Randy, and we'll just go for it.
You're looking. So how do we identify is the question that's on the floor kind of right now. I think that, of course, behaviors usually is always a clue, particularly if people start off happy. They seem to always be encouraged, and sometimes even those are cover-ups for when things aren't going well. So we can't generally we can't even really read that, but sometimes we can and get a good idea that perhaps this enemy may be lurking somewhere in the background. I think that sometimes people can do things like an accident to cause pain or hurt to themselves and make it appear like an accident, so that someone won't misread their real intentions and stop them. Especially if you see this behavior on a repeated basis, they're always having an accident or an incident or near miss and things like that. I think those are things you can look for. I think also some of the other things that you can look for is, and I'll say this, behavior modification, which sometimes can be a real true read, and then sometimes it could be something to throw you off. But noticing somebody's up and they're generally up and perky, and then you start noticing they're not as perky anymore. Life doesn't seem enjoyable or exciting anymore. And I think those are some key things to look at. And then I just came back from Tulsa, and I had dinner with my son last night. We had dinner with my son and his two daughters. And when we came in, the oldest granddaughter, I just looked at her and I immediately knew something's wrong. Because she wasn't she's a quiet girl anyway, but something wasn't right. So I finally asked my son, I said, "What's wrong?" Because at first I wasn't going to touch it. I don't know if he said something to her, and I asked him, and he said, "Well, this happened." And her countenance was down almost the whole time we were together. So I said, "Come and sit by us so you can feel some love, because you need some love right now." And so she did feel better. But I think just noticing when you're around people, especially around people a lot like family members, just paying attention, forgetting things. That could be another. You're forgetting things. You forget where you put your glasses on. We call it senior moments. When you're looking for your eyeglasses and they're on your face. You ever do that? Anyway, you don't know about a senior moment. Anyway, that's
no, I don't have those senior moments. I have.
So let's not talk. Let's stay. Okay, I'll stay on the subject. But even noticing being overly forgetful when generally the person doesn't forget, that they have a pretty good memory, Those are just, again, those are just on the surface, a few things I can think of, and I may have a couple of more uh, to share. Go ahead, Randy. I might have some more to add to this.
Some of the things that can help a person that's feeling depression or even getting those thoughts is to realize that those are thoughts that are invading their minds. So if they have a support group or whoever's there, help them to get their mind off of what they're thinking right now, and help them to get interested in something like art or something that they like. I know when I've experienced depression, it's like a cloud that comes in. And I know because of the COVID and being shed in, sometimes, and you're not as active as you usually are, those are feelings that try to cave in on you. And so I have to immediately get myself active. Even if I go out for a drive or go to the store, get out of the house so that I can, breathe some fresh air. So you have to focus your attention on something that's nice, that's something that's nature, that's going to take away the thoughts that you're getting. And then even if you're listening to some music, putting the right music on. In fact, we were in the store just yesterday, and this music was on. It was so irritating. And I was telling my husband, I said, this music is just horrible. It's irritating. We were in the store, clothing store, but the music was so irritating. You couldn't really be at peace while you're shopping. But then it changed.
And then I started dancing.
Yeah.
dancing. Anyway, let me just throw this in, because I think, to what are some of the other signs? Sometimes when a person has suffered a loss, perhaps the death of a close family member or a loved one, or even the loss of a job, or maybe they've been bullied, constantly being bullied, which can set them up potentially for those kind of thoughts that you're talking about, or sexual abuse. I mean, there's different things that can call people, because what happens when you're bullied or when you've been abused sexually, especially generally, you don't feel like your life matters and that you're not significant. And that's hard to detect sometimes if you don't know that a person has that in their history. But behavior generally tells on us how we feel about ourselves, unless we're good at covering things up. And I got to say this, Dr. Baker, in the church world, we're so good at covering things up. We'll say we're good, fine, and we won't be honest. Because one of the things we learned how to be in the church world, good liars.
Mm-hmm.
I think it taught us to be great liars, because people won't be honest about where they are and how they really feel. Like, I started to jump off the roof yesterday. And even I think I had an situation years ago where in my mind, I thought if I could go on top of the house and just jump off the top of the house, I was in so much emotional pain and trauma. I didn't want to kill myself. I just wanted to do something to numb the pain. And if I could have crawled up on top of the house and just jumped off, I would have done that, because I went through such a terrible, devastating emotional trauma in my first marriage. And it was so painful. I just wanted to get rid of the pain. And so traumatizing events will take people there. And I think that's what we need to be on a more heightened alert when people suffer loss and things like that.
One of the things that I'm thinking about, as Randy was talking, having people to get their minds off of themselves, which can sometimes be very, very difficult. I've just been going through this scenario. Perceived, it's a perceived thing, and it's probably not anything like I really think it is. Okay, it's with a business transaction, and then people can have sometimes loss of appetite, and that loss of appetite or that excessive appetite. Here they are eating sweets and eating things that they never would eat before.
Yes.
Giving away a lot of things, saying, you know what, I really want you to have this. I really want you to have this. And giving things away. And one of the things that I'm finding out as we're dealing with young people is they feel invisible sometimes. Parents and arguing, and even in believing homes and stuff. Here it is, the parents are dealing with each other and they're arguing and whatever it is, and that child goes and hides itself. It wants to be invisible in a sense, because if I speak, then I may get hollered at too, or I may get attacked also. And so it's learned behavior, and then oppression and depression starts to happen, and you don't even know where it started. I've had a family member that I've been working with recently and spending a lot of time with because of this kind of thing. And it's getting people to talk is the difficult part. Getting really talking about the fact that getting people to be honest, getting them to, how are you today? I mean, most of my time I'm fantastic, but today, if you ask me how I am, I'm really feeling crappy. I mean, there's a lot of crappy stuff going on in me right now, and it's like it don't feel good. I don't like it, and because I don't have control of it, it's like one of these things is that nervous feeling going on. And this is some of the things that happen in people's lives, and because they don't know what to do with it, they do anything to stop the pain, anything to stop this feeling, because it feels like there's ants all on the inside. There's that nervousness. I know what to do, and I'm working at doing it, and also releasing parts of it now. But when people don't know what to do, then they try to stop it at any cost. And so the thing that you said about being honest, and stop lying so much, Christian people, is a real part of this. And we have to be aware of what's going on in our lives, in young people's lives, and all of that. And then let me say this, and then I'll give it to Randy. And then another thing, all these, all the many apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, teachers, they try to pretend that their family, all the family, is okay, because don't want it to be when you look at them and here they are just spewing all kinds of great messages, and they got all of this stuff and they're popular and all that, and their family is going to hell in a handbasket, and they don't even realize it because it's all about me. You said this the last week or week before last about selfishness. And so in the church, we really, especially apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, teachers, we need to get out of our selfish behind stuff. So any rate,
that's why I'm Brother McGee. Go ahead, Randy.
I think the key too is being a listener and being sensitive. I know my daughter, I can tell when she calls me, I can tell when there's something wrong. And even though she's talking and she's maybe laughing, yet I can pick her up. I can tell that something's wrong. And I know it's because of her living situation right now. She's not happy. She's been having problems on her job. And I know, being in California, she doesn't feel she has access to any of my family because they've been having some bad they've been having bad relationships, because my sisters, who are their aunts,
her
aunts, have been trying to be like her sisters. And so when it comes time to being an aunt, they're not able to give her that attention or even that nurturing that she really needs. Now, my sister right next to me, she's able to, but sometimes she can be a little preachy. So what God has been showing me, and just my relationship with my daughter, is to get her to open up and listen to her. And so as I'm listening to her, we're talking about, well, what are the alternatives? What are some things that we can do to help change your situation? And so by us talking about those things, and she's communicating with me, I'm giving her hope. I'm saying, me and your dad, we're here for you. and we're going to help you whatever you need, so let's talk about it. You do not have to be by yourself. And sometimes she just wants to talk to me, until she gets tired. And I know it's because she wants to know, Mom, I just need to know that you're there, and so I just listen to her, and where I can plug in a few suggestions, I do. And then the next time I talk to her, I follow up. Well, have you acted on any of those things? Let's talk about some of your goals. What is it that you want to accomplish? Anything to get the person out of the rut and to looking at you, whatever you want to do, we're here to help you accomplish that. And so I think at that point, when people are that desperate, they need someone to believe in them. They need someone to speak to them that what is it that you want to do, that you want to accomplish, and I will help you. And if I can't help you, I can try to get the resources to help you.
I think, could I just throw this in real quick, Dr. Baker?
Go ahead. You don't have to be
I
real
think
quick.
the other thing, as Randy just was talking about that, I think that when you mentioned earlier about the fivefold apostles, prophets, pastors, evangelists, and teachers, and I think this is another area, even for those individuals, people in those groups, to find someone they trust that they can talk to about what you're feeling and being honest. It was several years ago, a dear pastor friend of mine, he does a lot of deliverance, and he shared how he started going to a psychiatrist just to sort stuff out in his head. Major deliverance preacher, won't call his name. And I thought, in a way, it was like a seed was planted in me that even how much ministry you do, you need to talk to somebody sometime about what's going on with you. And I think, go ahead. I just wanted to throw that little nugget in there.
Okay. You know that my doctorates are in psychology, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I listen to a lot of people and a lot of stuff goes on. But do you know I have somebody that I talk to too?
Yes.
Because it's about being gut wrenching honest, and it's about thinking, and it's like, no, I am not feeling that today. No, I do not want to do that. I don't want to get out of this bed. I do not want to do any of these things. I want to stay in this bed. I want to cover myself up. You know what I was thinking, the way I want to cover me up. I don't want to deal with anything. Okay. And, but I would never, ever, because I have to make sure that I am cleared, because you take so many things in. I don't care. I mean, apostles, prophets, evangelists, pastors, teachers. Here it is. We take things in. People expect us to be able to be a certain way. And you are designed for that. Your temperament is designed for that. But there comes a time when you say, screw all this mess. I need some help too. I'm in this position where I need some help. I am hurting. And if I don't get some help, I'm not going to be able to help anybody else. But how many people are really that honest? How many
Not very many.
want to be that transparent? See, I don't care what anybody thinks. I really could care less. I can't tell you how much I don't care what she thinks about me. But all I know is that my mental health, my emotional health, oh, well, my spiritual stuff is all together. Yeah, but my mental and my emotional health is hurting right now. And I'm not going to off myself, and I'm not going to off you because I'm too prideful to take care of stuff. So I think that that's one of the things that makes a difference. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things we have to do is disarm people that it's okay to find those safe places. But we talked about this a few weeks ago also. We have to create those safe places where people, whether you're a spiritual leader or you're sitting in the pew or you just out there. I just got a text 30, 40 minutes ago that I can't respond to right now. I need to talk to somebody because I'm tired of my life. I'm tired of living like I've been living. And I'm thinking, for real? And I'm going to respond to this individual because they need to talk. I may have to say, we have to talk. I'll see where they are, but I may have to talk to them tomorrow because my plate is so full today. But these are the things, but at least this individual feels comfortable enough to be transparent and say, I'm not doing some correct things, and I don't want to keep doing them, and I want to talk to somebody so I can get rid of this stuff. And I think that that's the reality of being honest. But we're not taught to be honest because being honest can be offensive to some people. But when we get to a place where we don't mind what people think, if it's going to help us get well or get a different mindset about things, then forget about what people think.
That's
And I
right.
think when it
You have to
comes
do
to
that.
this, yeah,
Yeah.
and when
Here's
it comes,
another thing. Let me just throw this in there for just a second.
yeah,
When this person that texted you or sent you an email or whatever it is, one of the things of it is that you have the opportunity when you get back to them today, you have the opportunity to evaluate where they are, because it may not be tomorrow that you have to find out what's going on. It may be that crucial time. And because you walk in the spirit, because you are sensitive, you will be able to listen and hear. And especially after we've just done this program, you know that you're going to be hearing, your senses, your hearing is going to be heightened. And you're going to be able to do that and letting them know that they're important enough for you to be able to take time with them, that is not, where you're not doing something else, but you want to make sure that if they need you, that they can call or whatever it is, because this is one of the things that a lot of people feel guilty about. They have people call them or have people contact them and say, I really need to talk to you. I really need this and I need this. And they say, well, can we make an appointment for tomorrow? And all of a sudden that thing of rejection, perceived rejection comes in and they say, yeah, okay. And then they never make it till tomorrow. See, these are some
yeah.
that happen, and it's sad, but it's true. Go ahead, Randy. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, really, the best thing to me is to help a person to develop a prayer life, help them to develop a relationship with God. I don't have anybody that I can go to, that I feel that I can go to when I'm feeling down and depressed, because I just have not found that person yet that I can just open up my life to. And so I've learned to, it's not right. I've learned to, and I've always learned to go to God, and I always, have dealt with myself. And like I said, when I'm feeling a certain way, I will get out the house. I'll go shopping. I will, I keep a journal. Sometimes I write in my journal so that I can go back and pinpoint what was happening with me. There are times that, like you said, I have not wanted to get out of bed. Sometimes I feel like I could sleep in the bed. I could sleep forever. And then I start identifying, well, why do I want to sleep forever? And because depression is very settled. It's something that, like, it's a spirit for one thing, and it comes in, and when you're weary, when you're tired, when you burn out, and when you're trying to take on everybody's problems, not realizing you could get caught up in the problem yourself, because you've never taken any time for yourself. And so I'm learning that I have to take my mind off myself, get somewhere where I can enjoy just window shopping or trying on some clothes, anything but the everyday routine, and that has helped me. Talking about it, one thing is talking about it. If somebody is depressed or is contemplating that, you have to find out what is the root to this. What is the main thing that's causing this? Where is that person hurting? And then once you get them to share what that hurt is, to be able to pray with that person and be able to, speak into their life, to give them hope and put their eyesight not on the now, but what can we do with your future? What do you want to do? And let's find out and get the tools to help you to get there. There's a hotline for suicidal hotline. There are groups that you can get together on. There are people that are in your church. There was a young man in our church, and I'm gonna stop right here. He was sharing how things were really going bad for him. And we thought that he was living at home with his parents, but he was living by himself. So I'm wondering, well, what kind of problem could you have being by yourself? But part of it was probably the loneliness, and part of it was probably his career. And so I told him, as a single person, you can get lonely, you can get, down and out. But that's the time, invite some friends over, have a cookout, or have a meal that you're sharing, and then just a few friends over and get to talking, and then you forget about all, what your loneliness is.
You see, one of the things of it is too, different temperament traits and different people, they can't get into, I have a great prayer life. Okay. There's sometimes that I just need human contact. Sometimes like I can pray, but I'm not saying that the prayers ain't getting through, because I know where I'm seated, the prayers is already answered. But
yes.
soulish realm, in that soulish and in that emotional realm, there is a part that needs people. Okay. And temperaments and different temperaments, the sanguine and the phlegmatic and that melancholy, and different people, they can get to a place in a thought realm. And I deal a lot with people that are not born again. So is something that, a number of these different people that they're not. And having a great prayer life and being able to do that is wonderful. But there's sometimes that people say, I just need another person. I need to be held. I need to be touched. They're having some kind of difficulties there. So they froze up on us. And we're almost out of time for this program anyway. We're going to get into more of this next week, and I apologize for the technical difficulties, but I sure hope that we have been some assistance and some help to all of you. And human contact is just important. And that's one of the reasons why I let people know I am available and others are available. So this is Dr. Baker, J. Baker. If you want to give into this ministry, the information is on the bottom. And we're here to tell it like it, still telling it like it is. And we don't want to tell no phony stories. We're going to be real. I'll see you next time when we're here to still tell it like it is. Bye-bye.